Welcome back. I'm Lew White. I'd like to point out something to you that's very important, and it's the parable of the mina and other parables that have to do with Yahushua's prediction of the end and how you'll be rewarded or not rewarded. And one of the things that I remember, a sister that has disappeared just a little over 2 months ago. Her name was Kinsley Robert, has a French pronunciation. It's like Robert, and she was living in Messina, New York, and she was last seen around the first week of May in the Roman calendar this year. And she was busy serving Yahuwah with a lot of content that she was putting on her cell phone. She had a cell phone with a little camera, and she just put recordings up of her sitting there, and she was sometimes holding a little dog. That was her emotional support dog, actually. And she left her emotional support dog and her cell phone behind, and she would have never left those two things. But she just disappeared between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. one day, and no one's seen or heard from her at all. And her family is very concerned, and so are we. And if she's out there, we hope that she contacts somebody. But she was a very fine girl. She's 33 years old. Anyway, she would read material. I've got over 120 tracts that look, I'm sure many of you have never seen them, but they're 4-page tracts, and they're folded up, double-sided on a piece of paper. And you get 4 pages out of each one. And I want to show you a few of them. And she would read these, or parts of them, or parts of books. And she had a lot of content. You can do this. If 10 of you would just take up your cell phone and either start a channel on YouTube and read. You don't need to know much. All you have to do is believe. And you can make up for the loss of what she was doing for the kingdom of Yahushua. And waking people up, reading tracts, reading books, passages of books. And you can find her on there. On YouTube, her channel was Yah's Infinite Wisdom. Anyway, she would read these tracts, and I want to show you maybe a few of them here. Here's one called Turned Aside to Myths. And here's another one. Zodiac Madness. The Host of Heaven, the Mazzaroth. It's actually the redemption plan of the beast. Let me sneak this little light on so you can see these better as I hold them up. And here's one called Blind Guides. Big questions to ask your pastors. And there's 4 pages to each one of these. See, they open up. And you can download these tracks for free at tourzone.net. See, there's the front, the middle, and the back of each one. And all of these cover vital information, such as the real name. Is it Yeshua's? Something that just popped up in the 17th century? Or the Hebrew word, Yahusha. And it shows you what these look like in 2 different scripts, Aramaic and real Hebrew on the inside. And here's a tract that explains, in part, why one faith or one belief system became 2, parting of ways. If you read these things, you've got content right away. And here's the origin of the sighted moon. Why do we start looking for a sighted moon? And how division started over the crescent. That's actually a Hindu thing. And it was adopted by Islam too. This one's uninspired outside writings called the Apocrypha. Are they inspired, or are they just writings of sectarian groups? Even if we or a messenger out of the heaven bring a Basora to you different, besides what we announce to you, let him be accursed. This is important too. This is a track called The Coming Sudden Destruction. They know it's going to happen. And here's one that's an excerpt from a book called Spiritual Captivity. You can't escape tradition. And religion of traditions. Men's teachings turned aside to myths. Truth or tradition? What does your pastor teach? Here's one called Idolatry, mankind's most prominent activity. And what is this word called Natsarim? We are the Natsarim. And this is a track that explains the Natsarim over history where you're not hearing about us. But we're popping up everywhere now, all over the earth. Here's one called Constantine's Creed. Why Christians disobey the commandments of Yahuwah. They made creeds. And this one's called the KJV, a jabbering lip in a foreign tongue. Seventh-day Sabbath mark. And this one's a recent one that I've been sharing around called Syncretism, making stuff meaning other stuff. What that means. And I've got some older tracks too that you can get for free at torazone.net. Just go to the drop down at the top and choose PDFs, and you can select all you want. And you can download them for free. Monsters controlled by a dragon. And here's one that started out in 1949 called the ISO. This is a track called Changing Time. The fourth beast prophecy at Daniel 7 verse 25. And this is a fun one. Beware of the blob. It's describing the last days. And its purpose is to make more of itself. Like I say, there's over 120. This was like 18 or so. I thought I'd take time to let you know about that. So what are you doing to bring guests to the wedding supper of the Lamb? You have to bring someone. And Mark August on Spark in You is Yah has a show, well, it's actually a gathering that he does on Sabbaths. I think it's 12 noon on Sabbath every week. And then the night before, as Sabbath begins for most of us, around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, he has a study. And he's really gathering a lot of people, and he's growing. So you should become a subscriber of his channel too. That's Spark in You is Yah. And he uses the word of Yahusha exclusively. Now, let's begin this study. I have to show you what this stuff is and how you can apply it to other witchcraft that you're being shown all the time, but maybe don't recognize, because it's everywhere. It's sitting right in front of your face, and you don't recognize it mostly. But watch this. I'm going to switch the screen around, let you see my screen, so that you can see the origin of the Dreamcatcher. Now we're here. The Dreamcatchers, let's look at that. They were traditionally used as talismans to protect people, especially children, from bad dreams, nightmares, and evil spirits. Dreamcatchers originated with the Chippewa and Lakota tribes of North America, and they're considered an icon of Native American culture. A dreamcatcher is a talisman, or good luck charm, such as an amulet that is trusted in for protection from evil spirits, bad health, bad dreams, or any item any item or symbol believed to possess magical powers. Scarabs, ankhs, signs of the zodiac, and cruxes were all ancient magical objects, superstitiously used for ritual protection. Tattoos have been used as talismans and amulets for millennia. The origin of the word talisman comes from the Greek verb teleo, meaning I complete, I perform a rite. Yes, those performing these rites are in rebellion against the instructions of Yahuwah, the creator of the Shamayim, that's the heavens, and the Eretz, that's the earth. Read Deuteronomy or Dabarim, chapter 18, verses 9 through 14. Quote, when you enter the land Yahuwah your Elohim has given you, do not learn to imitate the detestable ways of the nations there. Let no one be found among you who sacrifices their son or daughter in the fire, who practices divination or sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft, or casts spells, or who is a medium, or spiritist, or who consults the dead. Anyone who does these things is detestable to Yahuwah. Because of these same detestable practices, Yahuwah your Elohim will drive out those nations before you. You must be blameless before Yahuwah your Elohim. The nations you will dispossess, listen to those who practice sorcery or divination. But as for you, Yahuwah your Elohim has not permitted you to do so. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next exciting video.